Hey, this is a start when gain control game, so I'm gonna start the game and count down to when to start time. I just have a cutscene to skip.
Okay, rolling. Oh, it's been peaceful.
Alright, and 3, 2, 1, start time. So, hello everyone. My name's Stump,
Thank you.
and this is going to be Spyro 1 120%.
10 dragons in the artisan.
In this category, I have to rescue all of the dragons, collect all of the gems, and reclaim all the dragon eggs. So we're getting started with that first dragon. This is the only one whose cutscene is not skippable. But first we're going to do the flight level of Artisans, and that would be Sunny Flight. Every flight level you have to do some special task to open it up. In this one it is jumping on all of those stones. And in each flight level there are 4 sets of 8 targets, and you have to break all of them or hit all of them before time runs out in order to get all of the gems from the level. These planes only move when they're on screen. So by was I missed a couple of them, but yeah. Now we got arches. And finally chests. Now when I hit the last chest, I'm going to have Spyro a little bit low, and that is so that the level geometry that the chest is sitting on is going to block Spyro. That's because if Spyro didn't hit that, he would do an animation where he soars into the sky, and that wastes time. And here we've got another dragon. Each dragon has a cutscene and a specific angle that Spyro stands at for the cutscene. And you can't skip the cutscene until Spyro has walked to that point. So you generally want to touch dragon platforms at the angle closest to where Spyro is going to be standing. Here's our first level, Dark Hollow. It's random, but that one can stop and growl at you before turning around, and that wastes a little time. That didn't happen. I would have had to wait for that one to turn around anyway, because I can only hit its back. Now on those lock chests where a large number of gems are spawning from the same point, I charged over the spot where they were spawning from and then stopped. That causes sparks to automatically grab them and make them home in. After doing these side paths, I'm doing a bit of a wall glide against those walls. For walls that are steeply sloped upwards, you can slow down your loss of height from gliding, and in some cases even gain a little bit of height by pushing your glide a little bit against it. And this level, I am actually taking the return home portal. You have to do that in at least one level in Artisans in order to make the Toasty Dragon head open. You can go out of bounds around where the town square portal is, and go in the back of it. But in this category, doing so saves very little time. So I don't do that. But here we will reach Toasty, the boss level of Artisans. Every world has one boss level. The bosses are effectively optional, but we need the gems from them for this category. But nothing in the game actually forces you to defeat any boss except for Nasty Nork. I went a little bit too tight on that corner, but what I was attempting to do was cause that dog to jump off the edge. That would have automatically killed it and got me the gem from it. But here's the fight itself. Each hit delivered to him unlocks the next segment of the arena where there are more dogs. 3 hits and he's dead. And the next level is Stone Hill, where we're going to abuse the tumbling animation to get to the high part of the level early. But first, we gotta gather up some gems along the perimeter of the initial area. Oh. Now, the water spout, when you land on it, it puts you into the tumbling animation and you are supposed to fall back down. But if you hold jump as you land on something that gives you the tumbling animation, you still jump. That allows me to get up to the castle. And up to this area where the egg thief is. There are 12 egg thieves in the game. You need to get 5 to complete the game any percent. But there they are. And we'll go in this little cave here, where the key is. So there was another gathering up of multi-gem chests. Gems by charging over where they're spawning from and stopping. Now if I position myself just right, I can break all of those with one charge through them. I missed one of the charge ones. But that'll do it for Stone Hill. But there's one more level to do in Artisans. Each world has a homeworld, 3 levels, a boss, and a flight. And here we are in that final level of this world. And this level will introduce us to some new types of chests that we haven't seen before. First of them is the spring chest. Hit it and it shoots its gem up into the air, and then you gotta grab it. Long sequences of them are a little annoying to deal with. Yeah, we'll head on over here and get the egg thief. And we're coming up to the other type of chest we haven't seen before. This is a fan chest. 3 flames open it, and a piece of debris flies off that can hit something that's downrange of it. We will be taking advantage of this many times. That's our final dragon of Artisans. All we got left is a little homeworld cleanup, and we can go on to the second world, Peacekeepers. The any percent condition to activate this balloonist is rescuing 10 dragons. But off we go. And in this world, there are a lot more gems, but the number of dragons is the same. We'll get those on the way out. Dry Canyon is, well, right at the beginning. This is the first time we'll be taking advantage of the piece of debris from a fan chest. There's a ledge up there, and there's an enemy that fan chest is aimed right at. And we would have to flame him and wait for his gem to drop. But since we pre-kill him, the gem will just be sitting on the ground ready for us to grab. One of those guys. Oop. First we gotta go over here and get the key. And this dragon. Oh. That 25 gem there is from the enemy that I sniped with the fan chest at the beginning of the level. Accidentally hit the R1 button there. Actually, that is something that's worth mentioning. Rolls are a unique movement technique of Spyro 1 that they removed in the others. I use them in a couple places, mainly getting started from dragons in places where it would position me very conveniently to do something. Because the dragon cutscenes always leave you in a very specific spot. Exactly. And we're about to see a type of chest we haven't seen before. This is the fireworks chest. Charging it makes it explode and hurt you. I could sacrifice a hit point there, so that's what I did. Or you can flame it and wait for it to explode. And usually, but not always, this causes multiple gems to come out. Whoops. I flamed the extra life there because if you hit it while charging, you bonk. And that would have caused me to fall. Alright. Just a second. Alright, here I'm gonna... Oh, I missed it. I was trying to do sort of the charging equivalent of a wall glide to get around the back of the entrance building there. But I can get that at the end of the level's route instead. Here I'm going to take advantage of an effect of charging from a glide, and that is that you get a very slight boost of height from doing so. You are not supposed to be able to make it up to that platform that had those two 10 gem chests on it. Also, these pots have gems in them, so it's important to make sure that your flame did hit all of them. Yeah, we got a widely spaced out set of birds and 2 gems. The birds have much larger hitboxes than you would expect. So it may look like something shouldn't hit the birds, but it will. And because I missed the jump at the beginning, I gotta do it now. There's a slight homing effect on the cannonballs, so that helps. It means we don't have to aim it completely precisely.
How about like trying to break it down to like the absolute essentials of what you need, like the literal bare minimum of the streams?
Now this level is the boss level of Peacekeepers, and this has a slightly odd route through it, in that we're going to end where we began. And the reason for that is the different directions of the side staircases, making it much more convenient to get many of them on a backwards pass through. Now, there are 3 red gems here. By doing that little jump and then charging down, I make sure that I land close enough to the first one that Sparks actually will get it. It's very easy to miss that first one that's closest to where you're jumping down from. And here's the boss. Dr. Shemp. Weak point is the back, and flame 3 times and you win. I got to Shemp's left there to reduce the amount of turning around that Shemp had to do after the hopping. That caused him to do an attack animation and become vulnerable sooner. But there we are with Dr. Shemp finished.
I have no idea if this mic is working. Alright. Okay.
Alright, here is Peacekeeper's flight level. In this one, a unique feature of this one actually is that every single target is stationary. So there's no such thing as cycles here. But there we are.
I think he has focus right now. I think he's just the blur on the bottom.
What I did there was, when defeating the egg thief, I made sure I was in the air. That causes the mini cutscene of the egg floating over towards you, which is skippable, but not until it fully starts, to not even start at all.
I never knew that.
Nope. A little bit off on my positioning for the second one there. And we'll clean up the rest of the homeworld here before entering its final level, which is going to be Ice Cavern.
This level probably has the most annoying fodder in the game.
Yes, the fodder in this level is bats. I think this is the only level where the fodder is actually capable of flying. I probably should mention fodder. Sparks is my hit point indicator. Gold is 3, blue is 2, green is 1, and not being there is 0. And when Sparks is present, I don't have to touch every gem. Sparks gets one, grabs ones that I get close enough to, but
There's also these poles that have gems on top that are sometimes very precarious to try and charge into.
oh yes. Yeah, I already got the key, so I'll do this. And on the fly reroute after the side path to get what I missed there.
Huh. It's a good reroute.
Grabbing that to make up for the unintended death that happened.
Yeah, you're, so lives in this game, because of the way some of the routing in the levels work, you end up losing some lives to try and death warp to certain areas, and it's important to keep track of it throughout the game. And generally it works out evening out some to a fair amount throughout the run, where the number of lives you gain is somewhat close to the number of lives you lose, or maybe you
Here's
lose
a trick
few
called
more.
Magic Stairs.
Magic.
I went through the that enemy's hitbox towards the way above the base of it, so the gem didn't automatically home in. And there, the gem from that previous green or not green, purple one automatically homed in because I flamed but then was charging past him. I've been doing that to a few things. That's called flame charging.
And up here, you're going to see there's a platform. This isn't relevant to the run, but for anybody who's maybe familiar with this game and doesn't know some of the secrets in it, there is a secret platform containing 3 extra lives above it, right outside this window, right here. And in order to get to it, you have to do a long glide around cavern walls from the very start of the level, and that's how you can get to that platform. And it's a pretty neat, I guess, you know, level design that the developers put in.
This dragon gives us everything from Peacekeepers, so we can move on to Magic Crafters. The any percent restriction for going on to Magic Crafters is 1,200 gems. We have 3,000.
Audience space? How about or like just trying to find a venue? Or was that
Now, in these mid-game worlds, there aren't as many dragons, but there are more gems.
Also, I believe this is the last world where we'll be encountering the thieves carrying the pink dragon eggs.
That is right.
Yeah.
More than half of the game's egg thieves are in Magic Crafters, and there is not a single one after it.
Part of the reason for that is because the balloonists go in order of dragons, gems, eggs, dragons, gems.
Here I'm doing another fan chest snipe.
Nice. And yeah, and because of the order of the balloonist, there's no balloonist following Magic Crafters that will ask you for an egg requirement. And so therefore the developers thought, well, I suppose there is no reason to have any collectible dragon eggs after that. This is probably one of my favorite levels in the game, by the way. I just think it's a cool level.
There are a lot of nice things about this level.
Mm-hmm.
Here we're going to tumble bounce again. Oops, didn't mean to bonk there, but one of the more interesting things, particularly in this world, is enemy interaction. Although, since this is a speedrun, we don't get to actually see that.
Mm-hmm.
But the silver wizards feeding the orange monsters, these two enemies do a thing where the blue one keeps attacking the green one, and the green one trips the blue one. It's interesting to watch when casually playing.
Yeah. There's a lot of cartoon humor in, especially in Spyro 1.
I am missing a red gem.
Oh.
It
Yeah,
might
could-
be down here. Yep. Know your gem counts. I knew I was supposed to have 132 when I was climbing the steps. Yeah, missed gems are a fact of life running this game. Sometimes it just happens. Now, because of the extra time for the missed gem, the cycle there actually lined up. but I was going to otherwise have to glide close up to the right side of that thing that gets close enough to the green wizard to scare it. And that causes him to lower the platform.
Sometimes the dead body of the dinosaur blocks that the fireworks chest there, and that could be annoying.
Yeah. Now here I'm going to take advantage of some missing collision data high up in these mountains.
Common for games that didn't have a powerful enough system to
Right.
do everything.
They didn't think that you would ever be able to get up here, so
In order
they
to
didn't
save
make it
data.
solid.
Yep.
Gotta save that RAM.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. I thought you were going to miss that platform.
And at the correct angle, which that is not, I can charge into that one and not get sent off the platform. And there's another red gem missing somewhere. I think I had the right count when I was going into that area. I know I had the right count going through into the side of the mountains.
I would check the outdoor section, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably it.
We get to see missing collision twice.
Yes, we do. I missed another one because I said something about them being a fact of life when I missed the first one. Oh, that must be in the first side of the level after all. It's not down there. I know there are no red gems in there.
Oh, maybe it's... Yeah.
Oh, I think I know which one it might be. It might be the one on the platform between here and the path to the other side of the mountains. This would not be the first time I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. You got a good idea? What now? Soda is going to be weird to capture because it's
Alright, on we go. Got a little bit of more homeworld to deal with. Now we reach a new mechanic in the game, and that would be supercharging. You move faster, and you can break things that you can't break with an ordinary charge.
As far as I'm aware, there's only 2 places in the game, this and in Nork's Cove, where you can break a key lock chest without using the key.
Yep.
There
we
might be
skip
another
the
one.
need for the key by supercharging that chest. The key is in a the key is near the portal to Wizard Peak. So having to get that and come back to this would lose a good amount of time.
And here comes a level with multiple possible routes. I'm not sure what Stump does. He'll show it off, of course.
I go for the ferryless route.
Oh, okay.
So that involves starting by clearing out the loose gems of the cave. And then there are 3 supercharges in all that I'm going to be doing from this ramp.
Okay. There's some levels that are, well, this game as a whole is somewhat non-linear. So there's multiple routes you can do to collect all the gems, dragons, etc. in a level. And in most cases, there's... I shouldn't say in most. In some cases, there's very clearly well-defined routes that pretty much everybody uses, and then in some levels like this one, the routes vary between runners.
Yeah. Now, in that supercharge, we saw 2 effects. One is that going through breaking spring chests by any means other than the spring aspect of them spawns the gem very low. So you always... Well, I was not expecting to get that. So that means we have no need for that Super Flame Fairy. That Super Flame Fairy is there to allow you to get the two large metal things in the high part of the caves, because you're not supposed to get supercharge up there. Now I can take the supercharge through the other part of the caves to deal with the ones down below, and also get the enemies along this thing that I didn't pre-get. But the other thing about Supercharge, you saw me go through some fireworks chests with it, and that is because most things cannot hit you when you're supercharging, and that includes fireworks chest explosions. Alright, gem count checks out. And we make our way through here without the use of supercharge. Now, in the... I'm going to have to do this way to use the debris to snipe the egg thief that was to the left there. And I jumped at the time of the debris hitting the thief so that the cutscene wouldn't start. But there are fairies in that pit up in front of the supercharge that drag you to rescue you and bring you back to the top of the supercharge if you fall in. But we didn't use those either, so that is why that route is fairyless.
Did you talk about how supercharges work more in depth? Because there's
I was going to do that here.
Yeah, we'll see it when we get to it.
Yeah.
This level has a secret pathway right outside the start of the level. I'm not even sure if it's possible to see as you enter the level, but if you look to your left, you see the secret pathway.
Yep, and there are two branches of it. One to each of the two places where a blue wizard overlooks what's going on inside. That's a flame charge. That is not a flame charge.
Did you talk about flame charges yet?
Yes.
Or? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Alright, here I'm going to attempt to do a wall glide. I made it! And that saves... if I missed it, I would respawn from the death not too far away from where I was going with that. So, but it still saves a few seconds.
I guess I'll just say, so the developer intended trick for a section coming up here is there is two supercharge ramps both going down, followed by another supercharge ramp that is going down now, and he's going to jump over here. Now there is a section where the developer intended method to reach an upcoming supercharge ramp is to utilize the first supercharge ramp, and then this is to go from the very top where he recently rescued this dragon and it takes more time to do that.
Oh, I got a delayed hit on
Yeah.
that last blue wizard, so I got to go
Yeah.
back for his gem anyway.
Okay.
That means I won't be able to go for doing the that jump off of a double off of a single ramp, even though I would have made it because I had orange smoke.
So
I use the 25 gem and how long it lingers behind me as a gauge of whether I actually got the appropriate amount of speed.
How supercharges can work, if you're a speedrunner and you're trying to get extra height off of a supercharge, is that, I guess a good way to think about it is, the game checks to see if you're charging on the ground,
Ooh,
not
that's
in
a combo.
supercharge mode. So if you jump in the air and initiate a charge, and then go into a supercharge, you'll already get a head start on ground that is superchargeable.
We'll be abusing this in a later level.
Yeah. It always bothers me that the return home exit is right there, yet it's faster to exit to the start menu to leave the level. Maybe that's just me with OCD.
Only if you're right next to it, or if you, or if Sparks is grabbing a gem from right next to it, is the return home faster.
I know Dark Hollow, the return home is faster.
Well, you have to do that to open the dragon mouth anyway, unless you do the wall glide out of bounds from the. Alright, I'm controlling the camera. The camera is not cooperating. I probably did not get dragon skip.
Okay.
So when you go through a portal, Spyro continues through the plane of it, and not until the camera meets the certain position relative to the portal does the homeworld unload. So if I make contact with the dragon, which is why I did that from behind, then the dragon counts, but the level unloads before the cutscene can play. So that'll save a few seconds when I come back out of this level if I were to have gotten it, which I almost certainly did not.
Yeah. So in other words, if you're in one level until you see the entire screen change to the background skybox canvas, and then once the entire skybox canvas changes, that's when the level begins to load.
And more to the point, when the current level unloads.
Yes. So you can sneak in grabbing a dragon before that level starts to load. And you skip the cutscene. Unfortunately,
With
we
Dragon
didn't get
Skip,
it.
that dragon would not have been there. All that's left in Magic Crafters is the boss, Blowhard.
This level,
I didn't
fun
even
fact,
realize I didn't have sparks.
the level Blowhard has the gems per second is the highest in the level Blowhard. So even though it has only one dragon in it, people commonly go to this level for any percent. There's 400.
And still get almost all the gems
Yes.
in it. If I had more than a green sparks, I would have charged into the fireworks chest there. But I want to have sparks in order to not have to touch every gem. And there's Blowhard. Like the other bosses we've seen before, 3 hits and he's dead. I fully expected to land in the ooze there. Those are slightly larger variants of the Green Wizard that effectively auto flame charge for some reason. Yeah, with that series of chests, you can see just how nice this level is in the gems per second department. There was another instance of automatically getting the gems from a multi-gem source as they spawn. It's especially nice to do that with Blowhard because otherwise those gems really spread out across the platform. But now we're on into World 4.
The swamp world. Peacemakers.
Yeah. The any percent requirement to get here was 5 eggs, but all 12 of the game's eggs we now have. And this level, this world has fewer dragons, more gems, but no eggs. There are no eggs for the entire rest of the game.
Here comes probably one of the biggest cycle-based levels in the game.
Yep.
If you saw those electric panel guys in the Beastmaker's homeworld, that's a theme in this level.
Yep, those are all over the place in the second half of this level. Nope, didn't get one of those. If I position myself right, I can do the 3 flames on both of those at the same time, but I wasn't in quite the right position on the first one. Still, that only cost me 1 extra flame. I'm going to take a slightly wide angle there to not provoke the attack of the closer enemy too early. Those electric zaps are very annoying. And there are some armored chests that need rockets.
Another wall. Oh.
That's another wall glide.
Yep.
There we go. You're normally supposed to get over here from the very end of the level, but that would take extra time. So we don't do that. Did that one light? Sounds like it did. Ooh, the body of the electric Nork ate my flame there. Also, well, I wasn't there. I didn't have to wait for the cycle there, but that close triangle of the of that swamp zone immediately after the dragon does not hurt you. Ooh, I almost was too early there. Gem counts right. I get this first because of the cycle. Did I get all those things over there? Yes, I did.
There's a fan chest up here that, even though you might not be able to see it, sometimes that fan chest will hit a chest up. It looks like it didn't get it.
It depends what angle you hit
yeah.
the fan chest at. That was a, well, other than that death to the first wall glide attempt, a pretty nice terrace village. Yeah, I'm gonna grab the fodder there so that I can damage abuse here to get these 3 open.
Oh, so
Guess I had to wait for Sparks to eat that. That 5 gem from the enemy there bounced into the swamp, and thus I automatically got it. But here we have the special thing we do in the home world, which is jump down one of those things that isn't filled with ooze.
yeah, all the
And then we get to the flight that way. This is my favorite of the flight levels.
yeah. Another thing that is kind of interesting is all the flight levels are sort of like mini secrets in the home world, aside from maybe Crystal Flight and Magic Crafters.
Well, Crystal Flight you still have to figure out Supercharge to get to.
Yeah, that's true. But in many of the worlds, especially in the Artisan's world, the flight levels are kind of like tucked away and sort of hidden. Including this one, because it's in what you would think might be a thing of ooze.
This was the last one I found casually.
Hmm. And we get animation skip here.
Not as much of an animation skip, but still the ceiling makes it not last as long as it otherwise would. And having a lack of sparks here slows things down a bit by requiring me to touch everything.
So are there any Easter eggs or correlations between or developer intentional names for some of the dragons that you rescue in certain spots? Like I don't know. I think
I've never thought of that for this game.
because I know in Spyro.
Yeah, Spyro 3, well, probably the most notable example of Spyro 3 is the egg named Jonah inside the whale in Evening Lake.
Yeah.
And one named Sanders that does the chicken dance when you collect it. This level, by the way, is probably one of the more infamous in the game because of the attack frogs and because of the tree things. They are both highly annoying enemies.
Do you know what the point of those breakable cages made out of twigs is?
Yeah, the green shield orcs are attempting to capture the fodder in it.
Oh, okay.
If you chase the fodder towards it, the fodder goes under them, and then the enemy closes the cage.
Well, that's cool. I never knew that.
Yet more enemy interaction. Oh, I flame charged that attack frog. Ah. Oh, there goes my sparks. Never lost it to that thing.
Are you going to, after you rescue this dragon, get a sparks back, or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've dealt with this with no sparks often enough.
I would highly recommend after. I don't think you rescued the other dragon right before the.
No, I didn't, but there's fodder right after him.
Oh, okay.
This platform is the annoying part of doing this without sparks, but it's manageable.
It looks like a cool old temple or something with that's like falling apart, and it's very cool looking.
all of the fan chests. Oh, didn't hit that one in the air. This lack of sparks. We're almost in good shape again. As we got the only other piece of fodder in the level now. Hopefully I can keep it through this room coming up.
If you can keep it through this room, that's...
Well, that's not a good sign. Oh, there was a frog back there.
You can skip over here, which is handy.
Alright, let's give this another try. Oh right, there's a frog there too. Alright, that's the right gem count. This was such a nice misty fog until that happened. And the next level is infamous for other reasons.
There's the balloonist.
Yep. And that balloonist wants us to have 50 dragons. Of course, we're long past that, but that's what the requirement for getting from this world to the next one is for any percent. And that's the sort of gatekeeper of any percent
Now we're in
and the route of it.
treetops.
But here we are in treetops.
It even has literal treetops in its skybox.
Yes. Ugh, it took me so long to figure out all of the supercharged puzzles in here when I was a kid. But as speedrunners, we will be abusing the supercharged physics to break these puzzles. Starting with this one. Although, not quite yet, because we have to clear out the conventional path first. I think that one of the fan chests must have sniped the, one of the fan chests must have sniped the enemy there.
Dude, could that be new strats?
I went off the edge of the, near the bottom, but not quite the bottom there, in order to supercharge through at least one of the spring chests. Now here's the physics of use. Jump, dive, get extra supercharge. Make this directly without a 270-degree turn and without going through the full intended path.
This level also has one of the biggest, or rather most noteworthy skips, strats in the game. Well, I think pretty much everyone goes for it at least, but it's very difficult.
If you're talking about Stone Knot Skip, that's not hard.
Oh, is it not hard?
No.
Oh. Because I've seen some top runners fail that skip. By the way,
It's just precise.
Oh, okay. There's a skip coming up named Stone Knot for the person that I guess found it, whose name is Stone Knot.
Yep. And I got this just in case. And Stone Knot Skip is getting some extra speed here and then hitting this angled section of the geometry of this island at just the right angle that you get enough upward speed from it to make it up to the top layer.
I clap because like I have tried that skip. I am very inconsistent at it, and I'm not good at it. So very well done.
The only way that final one could have gone better is if I made it through all the fan chests on the supercharge. I was close to doing that though. And by jumping on the side of that bridge, we get to Metalhead without going through the swamps. This is the boss level of Beastmakers.
This level probably has one of the most precise glides in the game casually if you don't know how to charge to add extra height.
Oh yes. So this glide is so tight that the gems that it leads to, they moved over to the platform that you do this glide from in the PAL version. It always was the most difficult glide in casual play that I remember. I'll point it out when we get to it. Yep. Didn't get the last one there. And here we begin the fight itself. I missed the pulse cycle though. But Metalhead deals with the pulls too. Oops, got too close to that one. And I delivered that final hit with Metalhead with an enemy mid-throw, so I had to be sure that I got the gem from that one. Yeah, but Metalhead has two phases. Each one you destroy all the power poles and he's dead.
That green slime waterfall is solid.
Oh, Alright, I just had to wait for that part of the cycle. Oh, Metalhead helped. And that's the final power pole.
Metalhead also has like this cool rockin' Metalhead hair. Not sure if you picked up on that. He's got like this pink mohawk thing. I don't know what it is, but it looks
this
really
is
cool.
the ridiculously precise glide, but with charging at the end, it's not hard at all. Wow, 2 of my flames got eaten by the fodder corpse. But we got a little bit of cleanup to do in the homeworld, including the lock chest. Ooh. Would be really bad if I didn't get that. And here I'm doing a spin jump. By doing that against a steeply sloped wall, and then charging at an angle onto it, I can get to that even though it's a little higher than I can jump.
And that one gem at the end there, if he didn't charge jump to get that one gem, it's possible to get stuck in a limbo where you're talking to the balloonist, yet the red gem is stuck homing in midair at you, and upon completing the dialogue with the balloonist and traveling to the next world, you won't collect the gem. So it's very important to make sure that Spyro gets it manually and instantly, as opposed to Sparks grabbing it.
Yep. And that balloonist's any percent requirement was 50 dragons. Again, that is the wall of any percent. One common feature of this world is the fools. When you hit them, they cause something to change in the level for a limited time, such as lowering that platform. Right. Here we are in our first Dreamweavers level, and this is Haunted Towers. The name of the game here is Super Flame. But there are these fairies here that give you Super Flame for a time, and you have to use the Super Flame to do something to get you to the next part of the level. However, if you're quick enough, you can take this one all the way to this door that you normally need to use the second Super Flame Fairy to get. And I'm gonna go wide here to not crash the game. Oh.
Yeah, you can basically like
I almost
have
had it there.
Spyro enter an area, like enter this supercharge area, and have the camera become blocked by the wall so the camera can't follow Spyro, and doing so crashes the game because the camera can't follow Spyro anymore, I guess. And yeah,
I was getting this like 3/4 of the time when I was in my final practice. I'm getting the supercharge. I'll just do this the intended way.
okay. So the idea behind the route that Stump's doing is Oh, did we talk about
Yeah,
that? Or?
the Super Flame Fairy
Yeah.
that I'm about to get to does not expire. So basically this route is get to this Super Flame Fairy and then use it to do all the rest. Now we can clear out the rest of the castle interior. And then drop down to where we charged through. There's a flame charge. And I'll clear this area out. And due to the way that the Super Flame Fairy, due to the Super Flame Fairy mechanic, this is another level that ends where it starts. Because you need Super Flame there to get all of the gems, but bringing the Super Flame from the first Super Flame Fairy would be slow.
So I guess that extra life you just got there is just simply in the way. And
Yeah. It Didn't lose me
Can't
time to
hurt.
get it, so why not?
Also, this level, brutal if you die. 'Cause you lose the
Oh
fairy.
yes,
You lose the fairy.
you do not want to die in this level. See Super Flame getting the spring chests and fan chests open in one shot. And in the home world, we death warp because it's faster than taking the path of whirlwinds from there to the spawn point. Even though there is a direct path of whirlwinds from there to the spawn point. This is Dark Passage. The main thing about this level is these rooms where there's a fool with a lantern, and there are dogs and turtles that get larger when the light goes out. The turtles are highly annoying.
I'm just gonna go grab some water. Remember to stay hydrated.
Oh yes, stay hydrated about is everyone's friend. Yeah, with the lights out, everything becomes big and scary. And with the light on, well, the turtles remain scary, but they're not big. Also, hitting flaming or charging the fool causes an extended period of light, which can be useful. It disrupts the cycle. But for those turtles, if you don't charge immediately and directly to them the moment they from the moment you get into range of them, they will fireball you, and they will hurt you. Like that.
I am well hydrated now.
Great.
Remember to stay hydrated.
Now we got the inside of this secondary island to do.
I like how this level's secret area is literally the same size as the rest of the level. Like,
This level's secret path is more than half the level.
yeah.
Two of the 5 dragons and at least 200 of the gems are on it. Probably 300 if you count the ones that are in the armored chest that you open with the rocket that this path leads to. Now, the part between the dragon and the first gem that spawns from the armored chest there is a very, very critical section to not die on. The reason for that is that if that happens, you have to go all the way back through the side path to light the rocket again. So now we finished that. We got some homeworld cleanup to do. I'll be back through that path. This may look like a cycle, but it isn't. The shooting of the cannon at them is invoked by me getting within range of them. And here we are at the special puzzle to get to the
No cannon glitch.
to get to the flight level. We did not get cannon glitch.
See, oftentimes glitches are good and fun and things that you just use to help you beat the game faster, but in that case, there's a glitch that can happen where the cannons just don't shrink those guys.
Right, it's
a bad
possible for
glitch.
the cannons to not recognize that those are there. That's what cannon glitch is, and it's if it happens, you need to death warp and try again. But that's the special task for getting into Icy Flight. This is the last of the flight levels. Cut my glide.
Huh?
Ooh, now the train cycles are going to be really weird. I should have around 30 seconds when I reach the train track here. Looks like this will put me roughly one train behind. Which means the cycles won't be that different. Gonna have to chase that last train a little bit though. I dove down onto the train to get animation skip. Now, Lofty Castle is a level that either goes well or goes terribly. Hopefully, the former. Probably the most notable unique feature of this level is, besides all the, well, there is that, but there are also these groups of 3 caged fairies. When you rescue all of them, they make a whirlwind, and the whirlwind's sparkles are, unlike an ordinary whirlwind, are colored. Of course, sometimes, like with that first one, you don't actually need the whirlwind to get to the next area. And doing a full jump plus a glide and charge at the end will get you there too. So now we'll do the castle interior. This involves making this glide at the right part of the cycle so that you are able to break open the fairy cages in the air. Otherwise, you gotta go up and try again. There's that multicolored whirlwind sparkle made by the fairy. And we have a supercharge. But if I go off that side, I can get there with it. I can cut out having to go all the way around the edge of that circular platform. Saves a little time. Yep, missed those gems. I forgot to leave the first enemy in place on the path to the castle. You can snipe it with the debris from the fan chest there. Up here is the only red gem in a fan chest in the entire game. So red fan chest type. Of course, the red fan chest is not as hype as the red spring chest is. Even Stay Hydrated bot is hyped for the chest. Oops. Oh, that's not gonna do it.
Oh, are you gonna... Yeah, you made it.
Alright, now that we're on the final part of the level. This is the part that contains the red spring chest.
Nice.
So red spring chest hype.
So Stump, how many rolls would you say, the L1 or R1 rolls, do you think you do in the entire run?
Intended?
Yeah.
I think 4, maybe 5. Oh, that was a pretty good lofty castle. I didn't damage abuse off of that because I only have a green sparks. Also, I didn't rescue the dragon during it because if I were to accidentally rescue the dragon at the same time that it exploded, the game would crash.
Oh, I guess this is the last level. Oh, dang. In
It's the boss level
Dreamweavers.
of Dreamweavers.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the last level that we're doing in Dreamweavers.
Yep. This is probably the most involved of all of the boss levels.
It's like a Jack in the Box.
Yes.
Right?
Ellie definitely has the appropriate name for that. Now here, if I clean up this cave and make it out in time, like I did, then I don't have to raise the layer cake up again to get over here. And that is called Cake Skip.
Yep, because it looks like a cake.
Now it's time to aim high in life, but watch out for flying boxes, as the dragon would say. When Jacques makes it onto those cubic platforms, I need to flame him.
I like how this level has lava in it, yet when Spyro falls into it, it acts like it's water. If you ever make a mistake and fall into the water or the lava, the orange liquid in this level, it'll act and behave like water in any other level, even though it's lava. They didn't add the Spyro, you know, the what is it?
The lava.
The lava
death animation.
Yeah, where you fly up into the air after hitting the lava because you're on fire and stuff. That's not till like Spyro 2.
Right. Alright, and this fool here who doesn't seem to be near anything
Dude, I'm
actually controls a platform that gets me to the side path of this level.
Dude, I'm so thirsty. I'm just gonna go drink some lava right now.
And here we got pillars with enemies on them. Thankfully, the gems from them auto flame charge. Because it would be tough if I... Oh. Fodder eating my flame. If it was possible for the gems to drop onto the platforms. But that'll do it for Jacques. And that means we're almost at Nasty's world.
The G is silent, by the way. For whatever reason. In both Nasty and Nork.
Nasty's homeworld, known as Nork Nexus, is a tiny little thing.
What is
But making it to the end through the return home portal of each of the levels here will open up the dragon mouth of the next one.
So what exactly is a nexus? Like, I have no idea what that is. Stump, do you know what a nexus is?
Yeah, sort of a centralized thing that other things are related to.
Huh. Never knew that.
Now, the dragons in Nasty's world are actually dragons we've rescued before. The plot is that they've gone ahead to try and fight Nasty, but got recaptured. Also, you may have seen that the main feature of this level is these barrels.
Yeah. The route in the first part of the level is just totally like...
Now, there's a trick I'm about to go for. It's called barrel skip. If I get it, oops. There we go, I got it. Doing that causes the TNT barrel in that large enemy's hands to explode in such a way that it opens that armored chest there. If I didn't do that, I would have to I'd have to charge a metal barrel over to it from the top of this island here, that barrel there, and then go back around and get it, and that would lose a lot of time. I got a double spring chest there.
See, I think I was about to say this earlier, but like, this level has one of the routes that just looks like the strangest thing. but if you saw one of the sections where there are parts of the level that were elevated above the others, and it's just, it kind of, I don't know, it's just one of the weirdest routes that kind of
Yeah.
makes sense once you think about it, if you just ignore the elevation of some parts exceeding over others.
Barrel skip actually pre-exploded the barrel under one of the enemies along that piece of dock there. That was a little too far left to... Wow. Both of those barrels only hit one of those two enemies. It's unusual that only one of them gets hit. Usually if one gets hit, the other does too. But what I was hoping for was that first one, I would hit it somewhere between the chest and the enemies, and that it would hit all three.
Sparks is doing work.
Whoa! And I see the correct number for me entering this hallway, which is 352.
What's your PB now?
Upper 144s.
Okay.
I don't look at my total time too much during runs, so
Yeah.
Not really too sure how I'm doing related to that.
Yeah, just focus on delivering a good marathon run.
Yep. Oh, Twilight Harbor is the final ordinary level of the game. And the unique feature here is these Norks that are armed. Whoops. Yeah, this is going to be a little tricky. Yeah, there's fodder soon, so I'll just keep going. Oh well. But now that I have this, I can... These larger ones can be flame charged. Hopefully I'll be getting a lot of these flame charges. I got hit by the floating Doritos. I'll be back through here with a supercharge. Ooh, it's possible to end up in the water from that, and thus take 2 hits. I call that getting comboed. Yeah, I went right into that one. But here, now there's this drawbridge. I'm gonna raise it. And here's our last supercharge ramp. I'm gonna supercharge up and jump off of the open drawbridge. That'll get me to an a higher part of that building, where there are some gems. Whoa!
Ooh.
Well, looks like I gotta do that again. The floating Doritos got me. We death warp to the dragon. Then we do the lower path so that we can get to the armored chest that we passed near the first dragon. And also we finish getting those. Now we can move on forward. After a small gauntlet of more floating Doritos. We're ready to fight North. Double flame charge. I have to use the return home portals to make sure so that the next dragon mouth will open. In the PAL version, the dragon mouth still opens if you 100%ed the previous level, even if you didn't go out the exit portal of it. But this isn't the PAL version. So here we are in Nasty Nork, the final boss fight. I have to gather 2 keys to get to where Nasty Nork is. I'm going to do a little trick here that's technically not faster in 120, but looks cooler. That's the any percent kill for that thief. By being on the right, you trick the thief into running towards you, making for a very easy kill.
Let's see if you can get the 1 cycle here on Nork. By that,
That
he's
means
gonna try and collect all
trying
the
to
gems.
Yeah, there are lots of gems on this course that I'm chasing Nasty Nork through.
Yeah, it's paramount. He gets a quick gem grab there and then turns around.
Alright, there goes the 1 lap. So I'm going to have to chase Nasty Nork around this thing again.
Yeah.
But those spring chests are the main obstacle to being able to collect everything and then hit Nasty Nork. Yeah, he was long gone. You can cut off a good amount of the course if you're forced to do this again by gliding across here. And you can cut this hairpin turn off too.
You want to be careful not to bonk Nork and fall into the purple ooze. So are we attempting credit skip?
I've never actually pulled it off,
Okay.
so it's probably not the best idea to.
Okay.
There. Alright, so there is the Nasty Nork level, and so I got this cutscene and credits after that I've got to wait through to get to Nasty's loot.
So
Um,
now there's order again in the Dragon Kingdom?
Well, most
There is a way to skip this, but it is
What will you do
very difficult.
I'd say the sky's the limit.
So difficult that it's generally not attempted until getting to like low 130s of time. But the way that that would work is doing a proxy off of Nasty Nork. For similar reasons to the high parts of the mountains in Alpine Ridge not being solid, the ceiling of the final room that Nasty Nork is in also does not have collision data. So you can get launched out of it and glide out and turn back around and flare back and flame upwards through the floor to deliver the final hit. Now, even without doing that, you can, by timing your flame right, hit Nasty Nork and die at the same time. But you finish the death animation and respawn before enough of the cutscene plays that all 4 of the 25 gems get to you. The credit skip setup, by proxying out, gliding around and under, and then flaming, stretches out the death long enough by continuing to glide into the lava at the bottom of the room that enough of the cutscene plays to get you all 4 of the 25 gems before you respawn. And thus you've 100% of the level without being forced into the final cutscene in the credits. Ideally, you do this with 0 lives so that you game over off of it and respawn in the homeworld rather than in the level.
Now we're flying.
But now we just gotta
Yep.
wait through
Flying
these credits.
through high caves. These credits are definitely just cool to watch, cool to chill. The credit tunes, by the way, in the Spyro games, they're pretty jamming.
No sheep were harmed during the creation of this game. That's how you know it's time to pick the controller up again. I was getting this final dragon, which only spawns when you beat Nasty Nork, and these last few gems of the homeworld get you into Nasty's loot, because that is 100%. And now it is time for the final 20%. Now, the unique feature of this level, besides having 2,000 gems entirely in the form of 10s and 25s, is that you can fly, but only as high as the highest point you've ever flown from. So you have to get these keys from key thieves, which unlock stairways to higher parts of the level, for you to then fly off of and get to places with more things to get. I like this fan chest snipe because with this being so open, you can see exactly how the piece of debris hits the thief. Now we'll go over to the next gate. And the third key is in an airplane. But by I get that quick. I can get a quick kill most of the time by timing a flame, but I wasn't quite on the right positioning to do that. Now let's see if I can get the quick kill on thief number 4. Cut over too late, so I sent him backwards, but there's always the backup quick kill. I go far enough forward through this tunnel to make sure I flush the thief out the other side, so that he's back at his home position. And then I get him as he comes down.
Be alert for time is
Time
coming up
is
very
coming
shortly.
up in like 30 seconds, or a little bit more than that probably. I wouldn't have said that until we got to the gem room though.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
As we got some rockets to light. Gotta get everything that's in these last 3 chests. I should see 950, and I do.
Gems everywhere.
Making absolutely sure, get ready on time. It'll be when it fades out at the end of this, and time. And that is Spyro won 120%.
Collected the dragon eggs, saved all the dragons, and recovered every bit of treasure in the Dragon Kingdom. How do you feel?
I feel fired up, Bob. And I'm happy for the dragon world, of course. I certainly wouldn't want to spend the rest of my dragon days butting heads with Nasty Nork and his weird minions.
What's a minion?
Never mind. You know what they say. For every good battle, you need a good adversary. and I felt that
Thanks,
Ganon,
everyone.
in spite of his misguided nature, was a worthy opponent. Uh-oh. Here we go again.
Alright, yeah, thanks. Shoutouts to the Spyro and Crash community. They're all wonderful people.